Welcome to the On My Workbench channel.
This is part 2 of the New Prepper Starting Guide for when the shit hits the fan. In this video, I'll be talking about regardless of how a full-blown SHTF event occurs, be it an EMP or a financial meltdown, the end results will much be the same. There will be a surprisingly rapid loss of infrastructure resulting in shortages of food, water, and other goods including medications, utilities, and energy. It will not take long after an SHTF event has occurred that you will find supermarket shelves empty and that money no longer has a value. Remember, you can't eat money. I believe at first it will be the same for gold and silver. I do think at some point silver and gold will regain some, if not more, of their value. I believe having a good supply of food, water, firearms, and ammo in the early days of an SHTF event will be more valuable to the survival of you and your family than having gold and silver. You can't eat gold and silver. Later, after things have settled down and there are small communities of survivors popping up, that's when I think gold and silver will regain their value. For what it's worth, I believe during a shift event that food, water, guns, ammunition, drinking alcohol, and medications such as antibiotics and pain meds will become the new currency. I believe any new monetary system will largely depend on a system of barter and exchange. I'm not saying that you should not have some gold and silver in your preps. What I'm saying is you need to get all of your other preps squared away first before you invest in gold and silver. What good is having 50 ounces of gold if you starve or die of thirst? Usable skills such as a carpenter, a blacksmith, a mechanic, a hunter, a tracker, a campfire cook will be in great demand. Medical skills such as doctors, nurses, and paramedics will also be in demand. If you know how to set up and work on solar panels, batteries, and generators, you'll be in demand. If you can build and work on water collection and distribution systems, your services will be in demand. There will be a big demand for any skill that could be used to make someone's life better after an SHT event occurs. Once the unprepared realize that they are now on their own and that the U.S. government is no longer there to provide for them, they will become extremely dangerous. This will be a new experience for most of them, as they have never had to support themselves, much less anyone else. Some will be in a total state of shock or denial. Others will be in a state of uncontrolled panic, and others will be looking at it as an opportunity to loot, steal, pillage, and plunder. Some of the unprepared will band together in large droves of scavengers, looking for food, water, and whatever they can find to take or steal, and they won't care who they take it from or how. It's this last group of the unprepared scavengers that I believe will be the most dangerous. They will do whatever they feel is necessary to acquire food and water. They will kill you and your family and take whatever you have stored for your survival. This will be prominent in big and medium-sized cities such as Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, and in cities like Tampa, St. Petersburg, Jacksonville, and Nashville. If you live in a medium to large-size urban area, I highly recommend that you get out now. After the SHTF event occurs, you won't have the time and may not have the means to evacuate. The interstates and highways will be clogged with others that are trying to do the same. There will be shortages of available fuel for your vehicle, and you can expect large traffic jams due to accidents and vehicles that have broken down or run out of fuel. The first few weeks or months after a full-blown SHTF event has occurred, you may want to stay off the interstates and highways, as interstate and highway overpasses could be used as a trap or an ambush point to stop you and steal your preps. The following is just one of the ways it could happen.
If you are on an interstate or highway in the first few weeks after an SHTF event occurs, you could be a prime target for anyone sitting on an overpass with a rifle just waiting for you to come along and go under the overpass. All they would have to do is place damaged cars and other vehicles on the highway directly in your path in order to slow you down. This would help them get a better shot at your car and you. They would most likely first shoot the driver and not worry about the passengers until your car came to a stop. They would then pick off your passengers one at a time. Anyone using this method would most likely just kill you and your family so they could take your preparations. So stay off the interstate or highways in the early weeks after a full-blown SHTF event takes place.
You should stay off interstates and highways for at least the first 90 to 100 days, and after that you should always use caution.
This brings me to the question of how long. How long will you and your family have to stay hunkered down to ensure your best chance of survival? I believe the answer to that will be about 100 days, and they will be the longest 100 days of your life. In the first 100 days following a full-blown SHTF event, 75 to 95% of the unprepared population will die. As tragic as this may sound, it will be a good thing for you and your family, as members of the prepared. A 75 to 95% reduction in the unprepared population will significantly reduce the number of dangerous threats to you and your family. The following is a timeline of what I believe will be the possible progression and deterioration following a full-blown SHTF event. Week 1 of a full-blown SHTF event. Due to a run on supermarkets, the available food supplies will rapidly dwindle, leading to empty shelves, creating a nationwide food shortage. The delivery of medical supplies will cease and hospitals will start to run out of basic supplies. Drugs that are time or environmentally sensitive will start to deteriorate and at some point become unusable due to the lack of refrigeration brought on by the loss of electricity and the depletion of fuel for generators. Gas stations will begin to run out of fuel. Week 2. Fuel for trucks and automobiles will be in very short supply, leading to more severe shortages of food and supplies. Week 3. By the end of Week 3, all food will be gone from the supermarket shelves due to hoarding brought on by panic buying. Supplies such as bottled water, powdered milk, canned meats, and vegetables will have completely disappeared from the retailer's shelves. At this point, money will have lost its value. You can't eat money. Gas stations will be completely out of fuel. Garbage will start piling up in urban and suburban areas. The nation's clean water supply will start to run dry if it has not already. After the food is gone from the supermarkets and the shelves are empty, the U.S. government will declare nationwide martial law. This will be done under the pretense of maintaining law and order due to the uncontrolled rioting, looting, and killing. By the end of Week 3, I believe most of the cities and counties will have run out of fuel for their fire trucks, ambulances, and police vehicles. The police will no longer be patrolling cities and neighborhoods. I believe most of the police officers will have gone home to be with and protect their families. By the end of Week 3, you will be on your own. Week 4. Just about all automobile travel will have ceased due to the lack of fuel. Police, ambulance, and fire services will for the most part be unavailable, and emergency or medical services will be very limited or non-existent. Hospitals will have exhausted most of their supplies, and their generators will have run out of fuel. By the end of Week 5, the first 30% of the weak and unprepared will be dead. This will consist of the very old and those that are ill and in bad physical health, along with the stupid little snowflakes that will still be in a state of denial, thinking that this can't be happening and that the government will soon be here to save me. Most of them will die from thirst or from drinking bad water and eating bad food, or from starvation, disease, or from killing each other over scraps of food. I estimate this to be the first 30% of the unprepared population. Within the next 2 months after a full-blown SHTF event occurs, I believe the next 45% of the remaining unprepared population, being unable to find a sufficient supply of safe food and water, will be dead. The lack of sanitation and the inability to prevent the spread of disease, along with fighting each other over what little food and water they have left, will have a major impact on the die-off of this next 45% of the unprepared. Within 3 months of the SHTF event, I believe the remaining 15% of the unprepared population will most likely be dead due to violence or will have been killed while trying to steal food, water, and supplies from those that have prepared. How long readdressed? Earlier I asked the question, how long will you and your family have to stay hunkered down to ensure your best chance of survival? It is my belief that it will be at least around 100 days. You and your family may have to be 100% self-sufficient and not dependent on any external help or contact for those 100 days. I'm not saying that you should dig a hole and crawl in it. What I'm saying is if it is at all possible, you should eliminate or at least limit your direct contact with the outside world for the first 100 days after a full-blown SHTF event occurs. This will minimize your exposure to the unprepared and other possibly hostile individuals or anyone that may be carrying a contagious disease. In a post-SHTF world, the common flu could devastate your entire family. If there are any TV or radio stations or ham and shortwave stations still on the air, you should continue to monitor them. You will need to know what the situation is outside your hunker-down location before you can ever make the decision to leave or make outside contact. Your biggest challenge after the first 100 days has passed will be to find new and sufficient sources of food and water, and the prevention of disease and injuries. The first 100 days is just a guess. It could be longer, it could be shorter. You will need to be very careful as to who you trust after a SHTF event occurs. Please check back for Part 3 of the New Prepper Starting Guide for when the shit hits the fan. Please check back with the On My Workbench channel for more videos on cool stuff. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and click the little bell. And thanks for watching the On My Workbench channel.